2017 Honda Accord. Customer concern: the prindle does not show correctly. It doesn't show P, R, N, or D in all spots, and the car doesn't move. We had to push it inside the shop. Good day, viewers. Welcome back to the channel. This car was at a mechanic shop around the corner from me. I went over there, did a pre-scan, did a visual. They have already replaced the shift selector switch, brand new from the dealer, I believe. That didn't fix their issue, so they told me to take care of it, look at it, diagnose it. Car was outside in the sun. They didn't have a spot in their shop. I was like, listen, I have a spot in my shop, why don't you bring it here? And they did drive it here yesterday. However, when the dude was trying to correctly park it outside, it stopped moving. He drove it, but outside stopped moving. So what I did, I would go outside every half an hour, start it, see when I put it on drive, see if it drives so I can bring it in. Unfortunately, it didn't. At the end of the day, I had to push it inside the shop and leave it here, and today we're going to look at it and see what's going on with it. As I said, we have a check engine light and we have the prindle is acting up, and it's scanning the vehicle. We have in the automatic transmission, we have P0705 Transmission Range switch, multiple shift position input, which makes sense if we interpret it, makes sense of what's going on right now. Let's go to the computer, put up a wiring diagram, and see how that system is designed. When we come to punch the code in the service information, we see that this car comes equipped with two kinds of transmissions, automatic transmission and a CVT. This vehicle is a CVT transmission, so when we click here, it will give us the description of how the system works. And I am going to brief it to you guys how it works. There's two kinds of a switch that comes for this vehicle. One is, they call it 5 position, and the other one 6 position. And the reason why they call 5 or 6 position, because here you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 positions. That's why they call them 5 or 6. So when you do your checks, just take this in consideration. Another thing is, this switch is at one point is shorted, is actually hooked to ground. Okay, this sign is for ground. So one pin is coming inside to this switch, has a ground. Now when you move your selector, this ground will jump to other spots on the switch, and it will send the ground signal to the PCM, and that's how the PCM knows where is your selector. Now, how does this code trigger? But before I tell you this is a table show you that these values, which is the park, reverse, neutral, drive, S, and now we have forward and reverse. These values should be only on when it's on circle. For example, when the shifter on park, the ATP P should be on only, the other ones are off, and so on. Now, only when it comes to ATP forward, because drive and S, both of them make the car go forward, so both of these will be on. Just take this in consideration. The same thing with the 6 position. We have LSD, all three will put the car to forward. How does it trigger? How does this code trigger? It triggers if the car detects, right here, malfunction threshold, if the PCM detects the selected range switch input and other range switch input except forward switch input, forward switch, simultaneously for at least 1 second. So if, and the other condition pretty much the same, the PCM detects PR or N range switch input switch and the forward switch input simultaneously for at least. So if this PCM, we said that it has to receive only one ground, one position. The selector can be only on one position. But if this PCM detects more than one position that has a ground, it will do what it's doing right now. So our first task is to go to the switch and see which one is the main ground and see which one is the other ground. And by the way, I think this tablet is in the live data, so I'm gonna go to live data and see if we can determine which one is shorted to ground. Now, possible causes for this, either the switch, the wiring, or the PCM. So we have to put that in consideration. As I said, they changed the switch brand new from the dealer, so that is kinda eliminated. We just have to keep it on the side for now and focus on the other factors. I'm inside the vehicle with the key on, and I went to the live data of the transmission, and I indeed actually found those values. And this, as you guys can see, this is a 5-position switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plus we have the forward and the reverse data PIDs. And as we see right now, we have the P correctly. The reason why, because we have the P on and the rest are off. So let's start switching the position of the shifter and see what happened. Reverse, we started having the problem, and bingo. The reason why we have it, because the reverse is on, but the P is still on. All right. Neutral. On neutral, however, that neutral should be on and it's off. So that might be an open circuit. Same thing on the drive. You see, when we put on a drive, the drive does not indicate that it's on. And in both positions, the P stayed on. Okay. Now, let's go to S. On the S, it indicated correctly. It's on. The forward is on, as it should be. And the only thing that is wrong on the S is that P stayed on. So the conclusion is, on all positions, the P is on all the time. Okay. On reverse, it recorded correctly. However, the P is on. Neutral didn't record. Drive didn't record position. And on the S, it recorded correctly. However, the P is on. So I removed the battery, put it on the side so we have enough space to do our checks, and I disconnected the harness. One thing I want to do, I want to go put the key on while using my jump box and watch live data one more time and see if that P data PID stays on or not. If it stays on, that means it's confirmed. It's not the replacement switch. We have something going on with the either the harness shorted to ground or the PCM. So okay, we're gonna have a P on. That means there's a ground signal going back to the PCM. And as I thought, right here, see it? It's on. I was able to tell from that P, the prindle, the letter P itself on the cluster. So we do have a short to ground. This is the switch design. We're not worried about this. We're worried about this blue that indicates the park, and it splits at this C204 to the blue that goes to the PCM, and the gray, you see how they are connected right here, the gray that goes up to a couple of components, including the keyless access control module, the fuse box, MICU right here. It feeds a ground to it, and for some reason it goes to the power seat control unit. The C204 is located right here under the airbox, which I think it's there. After I remove the airbox, I think it's there. This will be a good start to see whether our problem is on this gray wire, is it on this gray somewhere, or is it on the blue that goes to the PCM. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a pinout for this 204, so I did my best to pin it by myself. And these two blue ones, this corner one is 22, goes to the switch. This 21 goes to the PCM. This is connector C, and this is pin 34. Be careful when you look at this. The numbering on this connector behind it is wrong, always wrong on the Honda and the Acura. When you look at it here, it says this is the correct pinout, 1, 2 to 10, and then the bottom row, and then the middle ones, the rest of them. Here is marked 1 to 10, and then the second row 11 to 20, which is wrong, completely wrong here. So always go by what the service information does. Now, since we have this disconnected, which is this, we're gonna have to see which one is it, pin 21 or 22 has the short to ground. So I'm using the ohm meter, check continuity, and my lead is on ground right here, and neither 21 or 22 have any path to ground with the PCM connector disconnected or connected, which means the short to ground is not, the source of it is not those two blue lines. The PCM should be good so far. We need to look for this pin 22, the gray one, and I don't know why we have 22 here, 22 here, so I'm gonna have to understand what's going on with this numbering. So as usual, I have to do my own thing and to find out that pin 22, the gray one, is over there on the other side of this connector. Now, I don't understand why Honda doesn't do it like the other ones does. Why would you put one connector number for two connectors, a male and a female? And if you want to do that, just use the same color wiring. Why you confusing me with a 22 blue here and 22 gray here? Anyways, we found our wire that providing the short, which is not completely short. There's a 35 ohm resistance in this circuit. As you guys see, it's still a path to ground. I mean, the PCM considers this as a path to ground, so this is gonna make it difficult for us, because this one goes, as we said, goes to 3 different components, and I would want to get to this C112 and see if we can split it to separate this side from this side. C112 is located under the dash on the driver's side near, I believe this is a fuse box or something. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the pinout for the harness. We still have the same hookup, same probing. This is on the gray pin 22. The other lead is on ground. I did find C211, which is right here under the driver's side, and I just connect it. When I connect it, you guys heard that? We have the continuity to ground is back. So let's check the 2 wire at the 2 sides and see what's on the other side. So just to recap, this is the C112, and when we disconnect it, we lost the short, meaning after it, not the switch side, the other side, which is this side, is the source of that short to ground. Either the power seat control unit, which is the driver, I believe, right? Yeah, the driver seat, under the driver's seat or the other module, which is the keyless access control unit, left side of dashboard. Let's see which one of these is the source of the short ground. And by the way, I noticed there's a lot of aftermarket stuff being installed on the vehicle. I thought lighting for under the hood, but then I noticed, as you guys saw, there is also wiring under the dashboard. So that might be the cause of the issue. And remember, after we finish this, we still have another issue, which is the neutral and drive. We still don't have any signal going to the PCM. Now, I don't know why this is happening. It might have an effect with this park being on all the time. However, it didn't affect the other positions like the reverse and the S. So we have to keep that in consideration. But let's focus on this park being on all the time. So I found the two harnesses, 109, 122. 109 is located under the center console right here. 122 is under the seat. I think this is the main harness for the seat. Let's go disconnect this. I think this is the easiest to do. Let's go disconnect it, see if we're gonna lose our short. Disconnected the 122 for the driver's seat, and we still have the, as you guys hear, the path to ground. We still have it. So I needed to talk to the owner. I never talked to the owner. I only talked to the mechanic who gave me the job. I called him and talked to him. He's been driving the car for a year. The car was involved in an accident before. It was driving fine, everything. They needed to change the engine mounts. When they changed the engine mounts, the car stopped running. And he took it to a mechanic. They found a ground, missing ground, or they put a ground, and the car start running now, but with the prindle is messed up. That's when he took it to another mechanic who is my customer, the one that called me for the car. And that mechanic changed, as we said, changed the switch. It didn't work, so the car is end up here. But something's going on. I mean, the car, as we proved with the disconnecting the 112, we proved that the source of the short or the path to ground is inside the car, not outside the car. So that makes no sense. That has nothing to do with the engine mounts. We're gonna have to locate that keyless access control module, because that's the only component, besides the wiring, of course, under the dash. That's the only component is left under the dashboard or on that circuit. Well, I was able to locate the keyless access control module, which is right here. Disconnected the wiring for it, and the short to ground is gone. You don't hear any beep anymore, and there is no reading. It's open loop. We're still on the ground here. Okay, and I noticed that there's something relay looking like. Where is it? Right here. A relay looking like, and the wiring for it, this is definitely aftermarket. The wiring for it is coming to one of the harnesses. So this could be our issue right here. I want to call the customer again and see what is this installation, and if he's aware of it. This might be something old and got defective, and now it's passing ground. Not sure what it is until we call him and talk to him. So apparently this stuff has been in the car for a year, since they bought the car. I don't care. All I know is this, there's a high chance this is the source of the short ground. Especially I see a gray wire right here, and they have tapped into it with an orange or something with this that goes up. I don't know where it does that go to, but it's probably to this piece right here. Talked to him, told him that is possible I'm gonna have to disconnect this, and he's gonna have to go back to that place that installed it to see what they can do about it. But I'm gonna I'm gonna cut this wire. First of all, I want to see what the spot of this and if it is correct or not. That's the only gray wire that I see they tapped into it, unless this is gray or white. This is actually gray. There's another gray I think here. So it's one of these wires. Where does that go to? White and yellow and green. I don't know. Yeah, there's more stuff here. More stuff here. I hate aftermarket stuff. Anyways, yeah, let's see if we find our wire and then we clean it. So this middle connector, when I connect it, I get the short back. You hear that? When I remove it, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove all these aftermarket hookup and see if that's gonna fix the issue. I disconnected the aftermarket stuff and unfortunately I still have a problem. So the next move, I'm gonna take the module out and maybe open it, inspect it. Module is out. Let's open it. It looks clean, no signs of water intrusion or burnt components or anything, but yet this is not the final. I'm gonna take it home and inspect it carefully under the scope, see if we find something. As you guys saw, a resistor was blown and I replaced it with a known good. Hopefully that's gonna fix it. Let's plug it and see if that's gonna make any change. Module is plugged and we're back with our ohm meter, ground, the blue pin and the park pin, of course. And here we have 496, 497 kilo ohm. This is a kilo ohm. Before we had, I think, 30 or 40 ohms, which was interpreted as short to ground. And here, if we switch to continuity, we don't hear any indicator of having continuity. And hopefully that's going to be interpreted same at the PCM. It's not going to detect a continuity, but that by itself showed that we have made a difference. I'm not sure if this value is correct or not. Is it the similar to a known good? But we will see. We will probably hook up our scan tool, go to live data and see what's the value when we change in the selector. We got our jump box on, the connector connected, PCM connector is connected. Let's go. Let's put the key on. We have the park right there and we have our values here, and right away I see park here are on. Let's put the gear to reverse. The park stayed on, reverse on, so that's why we have the same problem over there. These didn't indicate. Neutral, same thing, didn't show. Drive, didn't show. And S, it's on. That being said, for now we need a new module. Unfortunately, I thought that I fixed it, but we need a new module. And after that, we have to see what's the problem with the neutral and drive, why it's not coming. I did check continuity between the switch and the PCM, and it did show that we have continuity. The only thing that I didn't do is I went to the shop and I grabbed the old one that they replaced. I want to slap it outside and do what we just did with the shifter, but except with the old one outside. Now I'm using the original switch, and we're gonna watch the data while I switch between them. Actually, let me remove these, and I'm gonna go one by one. Here we go. We have reverse clicked on. Automatic neutral clicked on. Drive clicked on. See, drive, it's on. And the last one, the S, clicked on. That means the old switch is not broken. It's not bad. It's good. But they changed it because the P was coming on all the time. The park is indicating all the time. That's why to them it's the same thing. It didn't change anything. But to us, it's not the same. The reason why, because that switch over there, the one they replaced, it doesn't show neutral or drive. It doesn't show those. In this case, I'm gonna definitely use the old one. We're gonna have to install it back, and we're gonna need a module to solve the problem for the park. This is the replacement. I took it off. We're gonna install the old one. We installed the original one. Let's key it on. Of course, we're gonna have a P, the car on park, and here we have only the P indicating. Let's put it on reverse, and when we put it on reverse, we have the reverse indicating on, but the P on. That's why we have this sign blinking. Now when we put it on neutral and drive, they didn't come on before with the switch. There we go. That's good. As we tested it outside, neutral is good, drive is good on drive, and S we didn't have problem. Now we fixed the neutral and drive issue. The only issue we have left, which is a relief by the way, because that could mean it be bad PCM, but now it's not bad PCM. Now the only problem is that P is on all the time. So, and unfortunately I tried to read service information, both diagrams, OE and non-OE, both diagrams doesn't show what that pin. I know it's ground from the park, but I tried to understand what does it do, what does it say in the module. Unfortunately, both OE and non-OE doesn't say anything about that pin. So I think I want to cut it and see if our problem is going to be fixed. However, I do not expect the keyless entry to work properly. This is the pin, the fourth from the right side, and I just cut it. I was supposed to depin it, but when I looked at this harness, if I depin it, I might damage the harness, so I'd rather be safe than sorry. I cut it. I want to see how the car behaves now. So let's put the key on, and automatically we're gonna have park. We have no problem with the park. However, we should lose the park when we switch to another position. So let's put it on reverse, and now we lost the park, which is a good sign, and now we have reverse, we have on, and we go to the cluster, we see only the R. We don't have that blinking anymore. When we put it on neutral, there we go, we have a neutral, we have, and here the park is off. When we put it on drive, same thing, drive is on, park is off, and we have a drive on the cluster. When we put it on S, sport or slow, whatever the S is for. We have only the S's on, all the others are off. This is the way it should be. Cutting this, tell me 100% it's the module. I was sure that it's the module, however this is a clear indicator that it is the module, and it's unusual that there is a problem. This is what happened. There is a problem. They thought it's the switch. They replace it with a bad switch, and they didn't fix the original problem. So that's what we have. Now what I'm gonna do, I will probably put everything back, but not completely back. I want to start the car, let it run. I will put back the aftermarket stuff because the car beeps every now and then, and I want to watch the car. I want to see what code will it trigger, how will it react. I will try to shut it off when the car on reverse. Maybe that's the side effect of it. There got to be a side effect of cutting that wire. By the way, cutting that wire is not going to be the permanent solution whatsoever. It's not going to be the permanent solution. This is just to prove a point. But out of curiosity, I just want to know what that ground does, and I believe it might have something to do with shutting the car off on a different gear. One last time, start the vehicle. We have the park, reverse, we have a reverse, neutral, drive, S, car engages, and I did a scan. I don't have anything except the TPMS code. As I said, this is definitely not a final fix. I left even the wiring the same way, and the module hanging over there just away from the pedal. I am going to advise the owner of the vehicle to replace the module. However, as I said, it is not available on the shelf. It has to be ordered. And second obstacle, the immobilizer side of IHDS, which is Honda software to program this module, the immobilizer side of it, which we need, is broken at this moment. Honda doesn't have any ETA to repair it, so I am going to give the shop, not the customer, I'm going to give the car back to the shop and brief them about it and advise them not to use the vehicle. This is just to prove a point that we have a bad module. I hope that you guys enjoyed the case. Thank you guys for watching. Like, share, subscribe, do something for this channel. I really appreciate it.